artist. But then, it all fell apart. Madeintyo went from 200 million streams to only 20,000 only a few years later. So what happened? Well, to see exactly what led up to this, we have to reveal why he blew up, because it tells us that this was inevitable all along. Madeintyo moved to Japan to finish the last years of high school, and when he was finished, he was determined. Because when Tokyo got out of high school, he had the entire year off in Japan. This let him live in Tokyo doing whatever he wanted, taking in the culture and energy. This was going to give him the inspiration to start rapping. So by the time the year was over, Tokyo would move to Atlanta, and he was on a mission. Together, him and his brother, 24 Hours, would start a record label called Private Club, and this was going to change his life forever. It was 2016, SoundCloud was taking over the internet. Artists like Uzi, Cardi, X were becoming millionaires without any advertising or real label backing. All they would do was release their music on SoundCloud, and like that, they grew cult followings. The door was wide open for anyone to make music and blow up at the time, and Tokyo knew he needed to take advantage. Tokyo would create a song that would perfectly fit into the SoundCloud era at the time, calling it Uber Everywhere. It was simple, catchy, had a ton of fun ad-libs, perfectly geared towards a teenage SoundCloud audience. So as a result, the song would take off.
That song Uber Everywhere, that was like one of my favorite songs back in the old days, like the 2016 through 18 like years type shit. That was like one of my favorite songs to be bumping.
Overnight, Tokyo became an internet sensation. The song would amass over 80 million plays on SoundCloud and would peak at number 51 on the Billboard chart, going platinum. All eyes were suddenly on Tokyo, where just a few weeks earlier, he was a nobody. Now Tokyo had some sudden traction. He needed to play this smart. If he did anything wrong, he'd lose all the momentum he just gained and fall into the graveyard of one-hit wonders. So what he did to avoid this was genius. Tokyo would use all the popularity he gained from the song to begin collaborating with artists and producers in the SoundCloud scene. So by doing this, Tokyo is able to utilize other people's popularity to keep his name relevant. He'd do this by collaborating with producers like Murder Beats, who's known for working with Drake and Travis Scott, and Mexico Dro, who's known for working with Cardi. This worked well and kept his name relevant, but it was nothing compared to the feature he was about to get. Somehow, 2 Chainz would take notice of the buzz Tokyo had created off just one song. He clearly liked his style and talent, so as a result, they'd work together, dropping the song I Want only a few months later, and this song would take off. Having 100 million streams and going certified platinum, Tokyo was slowly climbing the ranks of SoundCloud, being on par with artists like X and Uzi. Being an independent artist also gave him the freedom to release as much as he wanted, and whenever he wanted. He spent the next few months of 2016 releasing 2 projects, Thank You Mr. Tokyo and You Are Forgiven, all in a pretty similar SoundCloud like plug style, trying to make another hit for the SoundCloud fans, and again, he finally did it. Tokyo released the song Skateboard P, named after his love for skating and Pharrell Williams. This song was extremely catchy, and when something on SoundCloud was extremely catchy in 2016, it would spread like wildfire. The song would soon hit 1 million streams pretty much instantly, but this was just only the beginning. Soon, it would reach the ears of Big Sean, who was down to remix the song. So together, they would come out with the remix version, going viral overnight again, reaching 100 million streams. Soon, Tokyo had 3 platinum songs in his first year of doing music, and without a label backing, it was practically unheard of. It was guaranteed he was destined for stardom. And after this next song, it was really about to happen. Travis Scott would eventually hop on the remix to the song Uber Everywhere, giving more traction, but this time to a wider mainstream audience.
That could be cool as fuck. You have your song blowing up, you're working with all of these artists, and then you have bigger artists who are bigger than you, who sees what you're doing, taps in with your works, and makes a fucking, like Travis Scott, like, bro, that's wild as shit. To have Travis Scott come on your song and remix it, that's a lot, bro.
It all was pointing out for Tokyo. Nothing could go wrong. But unfortunately, this is where the cracks began to show. 2017 was more quiet for Tokyo. We didn't see him too much to start the year until he was on the 2017 XXL freshman list with Cardi, X, and A Boogie. Ultimately, this was huge for Tokyo and was an acknowledgement of the historic year he just had. But after this, we'd only see one project from Tokyo, True's World. And this was weird, because after posting so much over 2016, with 3 songs going platinum, you'd expect Tokyo to use that momentum.
I feel like bro probably just got burnt out. Like, grinding that hard for that long, and then you finally get there, and you can't produce nothing. Because it's like, I get it. Like, burnout is a real ass thing. And when you get creators block at the same time, like, it's like a bad combination. It makes you not really want to, like, hone in on the shit that you know you're supposed to be doing.
And really go for the mainstream over 2017. Trying to get as many features as he can, and trying to create as many hits as possible. But he didn't. So, why? Well, it seemed like Tokyo spent most of the year doing 2 things. The first was touring. Tokyo was on tour for practically the entire year, either being solo with Big Sean and even showing up at festivals with ASAP. Which kind of makes sense because Tokyo is a solo artist and solo artists don't get some fat advance paycheck from labels. Therefore, they have to make money in other ways. And as a result, touring becomes their bread and butter. I mean, this is great for building a loyal fan base, but it's terrible for growing because it stops you from spending time on your craft. And since Tokyo is new, it's very important. This was the first time Tokyo, being independent, was going to become a burden for his growth. The second reason was that Tokyo spent the rest of his free time over 2017 working on his debut album, dropping in 2018. So Tokyo had to ensure that this next album was good. Because if this album flops, he just wasted an entire year. A year where he could have been making singles with mainstream artists, going platinum like he was in 2016. So was this gamble worth it? Well, Sincerely Tokyo dropped in October 2018. And well, for an independent artist with a distribution deal, the album did pretty good. With songs averaging around 3 million streams, it seemed like it was just doing only slightly worse than his previous projects. The song had 2 standout tracks as well, Chuck E. Cheese with 90 million streams and Ned Flanders featuring ASAP Ferg with 140 million streams. From a bird's eye view, it looked like he was doing okay. But when you really dissect it, artists who saw similar success to Tokyo in 2015 were becoming global superstars. Lil Uzi dropped Love Is Rage 2 in 2017, which peaked at #1 on the Billboard charts, and Cardi dropped Die Lit.
You want your Instagram notifications to look like this when it comes to your followers? You need to make sure that you're posting at the right time, and
which reached #3 on the charts in 2018. So really, it was looking like Tokyo was getting left behind, and it was going to get a whole lot worse because music was changing. From 2018 and beyond, the world was leaving the SoundCloud era. It was moving from the raw underground sound to more emo melodic. Tokyo now couldn't get away with songs like Uber Everywhere. He needed to innovate, but Tokyo didn't. 2020 would roll around and we would barely hear a thing from him, which was bad because his image isn't polarizing enough to carry mystery like a Playboy Cardi. He's just a normal, random, good bloke. And also, he didn't have the label funding to pay for relevancy like a Tizo Touchdown, where he's on every fucking AI Spotify playlist and every major artist projects. Tokyo always needed to remain around, and unfortunately, he didn't. So when Tokyo would release Never Forgotten in 2020, it was all downhill. Tokyo, for some reason, stuck to his guns and made the same type of music he was making in 2016, which didn't work at all. The simple, fun melodies quickly became boring and repetitive. Plus, the lack of promotion only made things worse. Tokyo's numbers began to drop significantly, with songs not even cracking a million streams. It was getting bad. At this point, you'd expect Tokyo to try to switch it up. Try find a new sound or style or something, because clearly he was getting left behind in 2016. But he didn't change anything. Well, kind of. Tokyo would drop Yokohama in 2021 with Uno the Active. Again, the project did lack a lot of substance, repeating a similar sound to what he had been doing for the past 5 years. But we did start to see some songs take more of a different route. We'd see him leave the bland plug trap for more of a soul and R&B sound at times, which did work a lot better. We even saw some rage style tracks which also kind of worked. But despite the switch up, it was becoming too little too late for Tokyo. The little promotion, an already significant drop in popularity, caused this project to only have 3 songs to crack 1 million streams. Though despite this, it did perform better than his previous projects, which indicated that working with Uno and some experimentation definitely worked. Tokyo would take another step back, dropping Neo Tokyo in 2023. The project was similar to Never Forgotten, where we would hear simple and boring production. If the sound wasn't already run dry in 2023, it definitely was. It garnered no sorts of attention, except for one song. Thinking to Myself was the final song on the project, and featured introspective lyrics over a sample and mellow drums. This surprised a lot of people. The song was able to complement Tokyo's mellow sound in a new way, which added some substance about his life, which created a great song. Reaching 2.5 million streams, it overwhelmingly outperformed the rest of the project. So after 5 years of repetitive music, we finally had some hope. This hope finally came through. In 2024, Tokyo released Tokyo 808, which in my opinion is his best project to date, using a ton of samples over calm and mellow production, creating a really great introspective vibe. We really see his Japanese roots in this project through his production, and for honestly the first time, we get a real look into the life of Tokyo. This project is honestly great, but due to the lack of promotion and years of inconsistency, the project is seriously underperforming, with songs not even reaching 100,000 streams. When we look into the downfall of Madeintyo, we get insight into the harsh nature of the SoundCloud scene in 2016. Though you had the freedom to practically block.
I ain't gonna lie, that must have been like a tough time to be trying to make music around the time when X was popping and Playboy Cardi was popping and Lil Uzi Vert was popping. Not saying like there wasn't like artists that are like, you know, were doing their things and making them numbers, but at that time when you have 3 of those type of artists making music, putting songs out, like I feel like low key what else happened too was people attention were onto other things. Like we're not focused on Made in Tokyo, we're focused on Cardi and what he's about to drop, or X what he's about to drop, or you know when Juice World came out, and you just like more like it was just like that's crazy. It's just crazy.
Up overnight. If you didn't sign to a major label right after, you were practically fucked. With the amount of money these labels pour into promotion, they practically get to decide what you and me listen to. They pick what's on the radio, what's on every Spotify playlist, and whatnot. So when they start pouring money over 2018 to the Juice WRLDs and Uzis to move into the emo sad hip-hop era, rappers like Tokyo, who blew up following trends, now either have to adapt or fall apart. Not to mention, Tokyo isn't a polarizing person. He's too normal and laid back to create a ton of hype and mystery around his name outside of music. So when his music isn't there, his popularity diminishes. Also, with being independent, he does get to have the freedom to focus on his own path. He gets to choose what he releases and when. And he also gets everything he earns. So even though his numbers are down, I'm sure he's doing financially well, especially with the tours and everything. Tokyo did what a lot of independent artists do these days. Build a smaller core audience, create music meaningful to you and your fans. And there, you can make a living doing what you love. Though not in the public eye.
Honestly, that's all really what you need. Like, you don't need to have like, I mean, like, there's nothing like, obviously a motherfucker would probably want to like have mostly a lot of big ass fan base. But I feel like cult fan bases are good too, in a sense, because it's like, it feels like not only that it's a community, it's smaller. So it's like we are a part of this community. You know, I don't know. You know, it's not as big, but you know that you're in it, and the select people that you know are in it. I can say it like that. But that was a good video though. Let me get a bit of light. I was gonna react to stunted growth, but I think I might say that for